Hello, hello, and welcome back again. We are here with the most recent Umi Control deck profile of what I'm currently running as a backup deck. Some of y'all that have played with me know that I am running Kashtira as a prime, but this is still my favorite deck, and it is going to be my follow-up when Kashtira inevitably gets hit harder than hell. So we'll go ahead and jump right in here. Still running 3 copies of Karyushin. This is your Gozen match. Both players can only control one non-water monster as long as this and Umi are on the field. And then it is also a searcher for a Sea Stealth Speller Trap, Karyushin Speller Trap, or an Umi. So this is going to grab basically anything out of here that you could need for follow-up. Second, still running 3 Electric Jellyfish. As long as Umi's on the field with this, it is a once per turn monster and spell card negate, and then it gains a permanent 600 attack and defense boost after resolving. Secondary effect, which is what you're going to use most of the time to get Karyushin out, or the Whale, depending on what your hands look like. It's going to dump an Umi from hand, deck, or field as cost to special summon a water monster from hand, so it is not ashable. Figured that out. Didn't know that when I first started playing it, but that it is not ashable. So that's going to get you started most of the time. Moving on, 1 Mega Fortress Well. In theory, with Kashtira running around as hard as it is, with the top of deck banishes, it wouldn't be a bad idea to run this at 2, but it is also a brick, so you have to do with that what you feel is most necessary for your needs. So Mega Fortress Well, once per turn during your opponent's battle phase without Umi. Keyword without. You can do it with or without, but it can trigger without it. It can pop a monster on your opponent's side of the field. With Umi on your turn, however, it's an activated effect, so you have to make sure you don't forget to do it. It can make it where your water monsters can attack directly this turn. So it's really funny. If you activate this and then later on, before you go battle phase, they get rid of your Umi, it does not matter because that effect is already resolved. This is Mega Fortress Well combined with Karyushin is usually how you're going to go for game on a lot of stuff. After that, 1 Terra King Salmon. This is my person. There's also the Gaga Gigo. That's the level 5. It's 2450. I just like Terra King because one who is trying to pronounce that in the middle of a game. So the reason Terra King instead of something bigger, under Legendary Ocean it's level 4. So it's a really big normal summon. Plus, where it's level 5 already, it meets the requirements for Sea Stealth attack to protect it. So this is just my personal go-to, and Terra King is just really cool to me. So moving on, 1 Gamma Seal. And the reason there's only 1 is because it is searchable with Ice Barrier. You can run it at 2 if you would like. Personally, I'd say go for it. I know I'm not, so it's kind of contradictory, but I'd say go for it if you want to cut something else out here. I've got a lot of flex spots in this deck of stuff that you don't necessarily need or have to have. But yeah, me personally, 1 Gamma Seal. It's good, like perfect removal. It is what it is. Moving on. The new Ice Jade card. So I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce this. You can discard a water or an Ice Jade monster from hand as cost to special summon this, and then once on the field, you have the option to special summon a level 3 token. So it's going to give you free access to level 10s because this is a level 7 tuner. And then, so you have to do that effect to get that token. That's the only kicker to that. And then as long as that token's on the field, you are locked into water monsters from the extra deck, I believe is how this is worded. Yeah, so whoever summoned it cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except water monsters. So I did have this big plan with this thing to sit here and just constantly recycle a Barone, and then, Yu-Gi-Oh! Player's Kryptonite. I did not read that 1, you're locked into waters, and 2, to get the token, you have to do the from hand effect. So you can run this at 2. I choose to run it at 1 because, once again, searchable with Ice Barrier. So there's that. Moving on, 1 Ice Jade Tremora. So this is good in case your jellyfish gets negated, like impermed or something. Because you can just go, alright, cool, Ice Jade Tremora, discard its cost, special summon a water from hand. And then I didn't go over it. That's what this does. You discard it from hand and special summon a water from hand. So it's a free way to get Karyushin to get started too, if you open up really bad. Next, we have Warrior of Atlantis at 1. Most people are running this at 2. Once again, use your own judgment. Discard for cost, add a legendary ocean from deck to hand. Pretty self-explanatory. It's a second terraforming, essentially. 2 Ash. It's a great card. Branded, still running around like nuts. So, once again, you're running at 3 at your own leisure. I'm just running at 2 because I like weird ratios. Getting into spells. 3 legendary ocean. It's always treated as Umi, and then it makes all waters in hand and on field, including for your opponent. Everything gets dropped down 1 level. When Sprite first got big and everybody was running Toads, I loved this because they would go to make like totally awesome, and lo and behold, they can't because all their stuff is level 1. So yeah, this makes Terra King Salmon and Karyushin a free normal summon, and then it also makes it where you can just 1 tribute Mega Fortress Well if that comes up. The only thing you have to watch running this with the Ice Jade stuff with that token, trying to synchro, because that's going to throw your levels off, so you have to do a little bit of additional math. Next, 2 Sea Stealth 2s. This becomes Umi on field and graveyard. This makes your water monsters untargetable by non-water monster effects, and then during the start of either battle phase, you can special summon a water monster that mentions Umi or is a water normal from hand or graveyard, but it's destroyed during the end of the battle phase. Now, you can avoid this. You summon off of Sea Stealth 2, and then before the battle phase is over, you Sea Stealth attack, banish it, so it dodges that end of battle phase destruction. And then Sea Stealth attack makes everything, whatever you banish, it banishes for cost, and it comes back near the end phase. Next, most important spell in here, Fish Sonar. This is going to search you a level 7 or lower water that mentions Umi or a water normal. And then if Umi's on the field when you activate this, you get to special summon a water normal from deck for free. So this is where 9 times out of 10 you're going to get that Terra King Salmon out. You also have the option to run like Spiral Serpent, Phantasm Spiral Dragon, whatever you want. Something that's a bigger vanilla water, but I just don't recommend it because they are in fact bricks. Next up, we got 2 Dark Ruler No Mores, because this deck does not like to go second, because we do not put up negates or ways to play through negates. So, 2 Dark Rulers just in case. Because you don't necessarily have to put up damage your first turn. You can get that Waterlock set, and then you're coasting. 2 Foolish Burial Goods. 9 times out of 10, this is going to dump your Ice Barrier to get your search off to start playing. Plus, this lets you get around Droll. Because with the Ice Barrier dumped to graveyard, then you're adding from graveyard instead of deck, so you're getting around Droll. 3 Prosperity. You can swap this for Extravagance. I know Prosperity is high. The only reason I'm using them is because I own them, which took me forever to get. But Prosperity is, in my opinion, it's just better for consistency because you're getting to pick what you're getting. But once again, you do not have to run an extra deck in this. Like, you need it for this, but you don't need an extra deck to function with this deck. So this can easily be swapped out for Extravagances, and you'll never notice a difference. 1 Terraforming. Self-explanatory. This deck lives and dies off of Umi, so yeah. 2 Triple Attack is talents. I mean, self-explanatory. You're going to draw 2 or take something of theirs. It is what it is. 2 Sea Stealth attack. So here we'll go over this card again briefly. So this pairs very well with Dark Reef. And once I go over Dark Reef, it'll make more sense. But I'll cover the other 2 effects first. So this, it will banish a water for cost to protect your face-up back row from being destroyed. Now, it can still be banished. It can still be spun back, so you have to keep that in mind. But it's a good way to dodge stuff, which I'll get over that more in a second. Other effect is if your opponent... It doesn't matter who does it. If your water monster that's originally level 5 or higher battles, it will pop your opponent's monster before damage calculation, as long as this and Umi are both on the field at the same time. So same way as like Phantasm Spiral works, it's same strategy, basically. Next we have Karyushin's Dark Reef, and this is where I'm going to go over both of these at the same time. So Dark Reef is going to send an Umi for cost from the field to special summon up to 2 water monsters, different names, in defense mode from deck. And then if your opponent controls monster, you get a free normal water monster as well. So typically what you're going to want to do if you open this, Sea Stealth, Attack, and an Umi, you just go ahead and activate the Umi and set these two. You will Dark Reef, send the Umi, wait for a response, no response, chain Sea Stealth Attack. So the third effect of this, on resolution of this, activating, it can activate an Umi from graveyard or hand. So you just get it right back, and then you can pick out whatever 2 monsters you need to get your plays going or to get your lock in place. 2 Ice Barrier, I kind of went over this a little bit. So from graveyard, you banish it for cost. It will dump you a level 5 or higher water monster from deck to grave, and then you add a water monster from grave to hand. So, and it does not specify that it has to be something that was already there. So you can dump whatever you're wanting to add to your hand. Second effect, this is why you can run this at 3 as well. So even if you open this, it's not a brick. You just set it. When your opponent declares an attack, you can activate this, and it will negate that monster's effects and take their attack to 0 permanently. Like, both of those effects are permanent. So this is really good in the Kashtira matchup, because if you've got a Waterlock and they get a Fenrir and they go swing in to get rid of your back row at all, or your monster for that matter, you just chain this to their activation of that, and then it's negated, so you are safe. 1 Kashtira Ogre, so you can do a cool loop with this thing. For one, it's water, so it's free. Under Legendary Ocean, it's 3,000 attack. So you will special this, search your Kashtira preparations. I'm going to go ahead and cover this all in one go. So preparations let you special summon a Kashtira monster that's banished or in your hand. So it takes a little bit of setup. What you're going to do is you go Ogre, Attack. And this is going to require you've got Ogre, Sea Stealth Attack, and Umi, and preparations out. Anything else doesn't matter. But you swing with Ogre, and then after that battle, you Sea Stealth Attack, banish it for cost, and then immediately chain preparations, special summon it back, boom, you get to swing again with it. So you've got 6,000 damage out of one monster for nothing, other than a little bit of setup. And then the 1 Fenrir, the reason it's at 1, you want to keep this as close to 40 as possible, because while the deck is good, you need as much consistency as possible. The Fenrir is just good all around because it can search your Ogre for you. Plus, I mean, if you're going second, you can special this out. If all else fails, you can tribute it off your Karyushin plays. So, free specials are cool. Plus, Fenrir is just a hell of a card. So, yeah, we already went over preparations. Other effect of this is not going to matter, so we're not going to cover it. That's it for main deck. Extra deck, 1 Barone. It's kind of hard to make this, but you can if you wanted to, so it's there. You don't have to run this, because once again, you do not have to use your extra deck whatsoever. 9 times out of 10, I'm knocking this off of Prosperity anyways, so. But it is there if you needed it. So this is the new Ice Jade Synchro we just got. So this is typically what you're going to make with that new Ice Jade monster that's in main deck. So this is a quick effect. It can make your monsters where they can't be destroyed by battle and they can't be banished this turn. And if you do that in response to your opponent's activation of something, you can banish that card. So like, say you're playing against Kashtira and you've got this out and they go right south to search. You chain this. They can't banish stuff off your monsters off your board, and they can't destroy them. And then you get to banish that field spell before they get their search, so they're not going to get the search. Chang Ying, it's a 10. It's pretty self-explanatory. This has been around for a while. Sword Soul is not rogue, and it is not new. Chang Ying works really good with this because, one, if you're running prosperity stuff, you're constantly banishing shit, so it's going to be big. And then the secondary thing is its banish effect, where if something gets banished, you can target one on the field, one in their graveyard to banish them. You can trigger that yourself, because if you banish something with Sea Stealth Attack, it's going to beat its requirements. So you can banish something else with Sea Stealth Attack, and then boom, your Chang Ying is live. We are playing a lot of Xyz monsters in this, so it's a Zeus, self-explanatory. It's a good board wipe if you come up on a mirror match, or if you're playing against Morensis or something, you need to clear the board. It's a Zeus. I mean, there's not much to say here. 2 Bahamut Shark. You know the drill with this. You get 2 level 4s, go Bahamut Shark, get a Toad for your Omni Negate. Self-explanatory. Plus, I mean, with this and Legendary Ocean, it's a 2800 beater. So, Silent Honor Arc. This is kind of experimental for me at this point. I have run this in the past. It's more of a it's good removal because you detach two to take one of their special summon monsters to attach as material. So I mean, you could do that and then punch and then make a Zeus. So if you wanted to get rid of something that you can't beat over, you can just take it from them. One Stealth Kraken spawn. Stealth Kraken is cool. This is where like Gozen itself would come in handy here, because you can just lock them into waters and they can't do anything. But this is a good once per turn pop and burn. So it's a good time card, I guess. But once again, a lot of this extra deck stuff is flex spots. Stealth Kraken spawn, so if this gets popped and it's got material, you get something else out for free. It's old school shark stuff. One Abyss Dweller, we're running this at 2 for tier format. Obviously tier is not as prominent now, and there's not a lot of graveyard stuff going on, but it is still there if you need it. Now, most of the time, that's going off of Prosperity too, so do with that what you want. Two-Toed, Omni Negates, self-explanatory. You get it off of Bahamut Shark. It's a good card. So we're going to go backwards here. We're going to start with Water Charmer. So say you get Ibly locked, you just normal summon something, make this, get rid of it. So pretty standard stuff. You have to have something to get rid of that Ibly. Or alternatively, you can run Lingeribo, whatever you want. So there is also that possibility that may get swapped out now that I think about that. Alright, so the funnier combo than the Ogre thing, you can make Coral an enemy, and then once you use her effect to special summon a water back from the graveyard, you are locked into waters. So ideally, you want to do this to where you have enough materials to go link 4, make Zelantis. So what Zelantis is going to do is he is going to banish the entire board and then you special summon the stuff back. Now why this works with an enemy is she locks you into waters. So if your opponent's not playing water monsters, you can't special summon their stuff back. So it's a free board wipe at this point. That's going to get it for the extra deck. Now the side deck, now obviously side decks are dealer's choice. This is just my personal opinion of what I run. Mainly because it's funny and floodgate-ish. I know that's a surprise for something like this, but 2 Nib, self-explanatory. You got Kashtira players that do not respect Nib and will overextend like a whatever every chance they can. So it's Nib. There's no explanation needed. 2 Raigeki, you run it at 3 if you want. It's a good card. It's a good board breaker. Kashtira is hard to deal with this because, granted, Shangri-Ira can protect itself, but Arise Heart cannot, and neither can any of the other ones. So, Raigeki. 2 Cyclones. This has been the first format that I've not been running a Harpy's Feather Duster, but the Banish feels better than a Destruction, so you could run it at 3, but I'm running a lot of oddball other stuff, so we're running it at 2 here. 3 Evenly Matched, self-explanatory, as most of the stuff is. You don't like to go second, so evenly matched. 2 Skill Drain, so you can play under this because of Sea Stealth Attack, just popping all your opponent's stuff. Plus, if you get this early and you still need to search stuff, you can, say Skill Drain's active, you can go Kairyu-Shin effect to search, no response, immediately chain, Sea Stealth Attack, banish it. Because then it's not on the board anymore, so Skill Drain does not apply to it, so you still get your search. And you're going to get your monster back at the end phase, so if you can live without it for 1 turn, do that. Or it also works to where, say, same difference if you've got Mega Fortress Well, you can do its effect to attack direct and then banish it, and then just hit with everything else. So, same thing. Next, Summon Limit. You don't really summon a lot in this, and most of everything else does right now, so that's a good way to stop shit before it gets going. And then finally, 2 Judgments. You're not going to want to play this in Game 3 if you're running into time, obviously, but this is really good if you go first and you know your opponent's got evenly matched or something that you don't want to deal with, so there's that. That's going to wrap it up. This is still, I know I'm still running Kashtira. We're trying to get an invite over here, but this is still, as soon as Kashtira gets hit, it's probably, I'm going to be right back to this. So it is what it is. Y'all have a good one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ask questions. Check us out. We got links. We are on Twitch 3 days a week. And we will see y'all in the next one.